Hey, Jane. Hi, May. Hi, Austin.
What is it, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard?
It's, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is 8 a.m. where we are. I think we're in, I don't know what they call it, but we're in Manila's time zone.
In the Indian Ocean.
Yes, in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Okay, looks like we've got a couple people. Again, this is the book club meeting for Outlive, chapters 3 and 4, and Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. I've got my notes and I'm ready to go. Hi, Lauren. Good morning. We need to catch up, Lauren, again. Had a great chat with Lauren last night, everybody. It was just, I love how people who've been on the ship stay friends with us for a long time afterwards. It's been really nice. It's so hard to make. So I'm going to talk about this for a minute because this comes up. This is part of the book, emotional health and the community that you have.
Stress,
and it is a really big part of how well you age, and it's really difficult to make friends the older you get. Everybody's got their own lives, they're busy, they their own family issues, and nobody has time for other families and other people's issues or whatever. And then of course over time people just grow apart, so you don't have those. Hey Bella, I'm glad to see you on Book Talk. Anyway, absolutely, stay as long as you like, and maybe join us next week if you like. Anyway, it's the fact that we've been able to make so many new friends, so many great friends on the ship.
And long-lasting friendships is what they're going to be.
Yes,
it's amazing.
Because we're keeping in touch. I mean, Lauren hasn't been on the ship for weeks, and I just had a really nice talk with her yesterday, and it was just it was really nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so starting with chapter 3. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Leah, Frugal Vagabond, and this is...
I'm Renee Shaw, and you can follow me at on YouTube at Renee Shaw, or Shaw Set Sail, SHULLS, Set Sail. And TikTok is Shaw Renee.
Okay. I'm everywhere. And what do you cover on your channels?
On Renee Shaw is my cleaning channel. I clean, declutter, and organize my followers' homes for free.
Our local Marie Kondo, if you will?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've gone, in the U.S., I've gone from Michigan all the way to Florida, travel, do it all for free, have fun. And then on the TikTok, it's about cruising and...
Trap. And
Al, the elephant. He goes on unforgettable adventures. He doesn't forget. Elephants never forget.
Never.
So, never.
So, sorry, I'm getting notifications about our calendar event that is right now happening. May, I am very glad that you are planning on buying the book. We're doing the book club because this was a life-changing thing for me. And I was telling Renee about it a couple of weeks ago, and she had it not necessarily with this book. She hadn't read this book before, but...
the movie Game Changers on Netflix was life-changing for myself and my husband. He lost 50 pounds going vegetarian and just was diabetic now to pre-diabetic, and it just changed our lives for the better for health.
Yeah. And was it difficult?
The first couple weeks, yeah, we were both not pleasant to be around.
Yeah, that does happen, and I'll say...
When you change your habits.
Yeah, no argument from me there. All right, so on chapter 3, title of the chapter is Objectives, Strategy, and Tactics, which is a roadmap for understanding and using the information that's in the book. So what were your kind of initial thoughts, Renee, on that?
Good question. So in chapters 3 and 4, they had relatable strategies that can motivate you to integrate more of your whole foods into your diets instead of, I'll go back to a grocery store. If you go on the outside of the grocery store, it's everything you should eat. Everything on the inside is processed. So you want to eat the whole foods that are on the outside and not on the inside of the store. So it just reminded me to get back to when I get back home, to shop at the outside the grocery store, but also when we're on the ship, what am I eating that's processed?
Yeah.
as well.
And that we can't always know. I mean, we can guess at a lot of stuff.
But I
you
don't need to
can't-
go to the store and get a thing of Pringles.
Yes.
So,
Lisa in Virginia, it is 8 a.m. where we are.
and we're in the Indian Ocean.
So one of the things that they talk about in chapter 3, that he spends a lot of time talking about in chapter 3, is the marginal decade of life. So I think everybody who's watching this is going to be familiar with the fact that the last 10 years of most people's lives is not fantastic. It's full of aches,
Pain,
pains.
suffering, you can't move.
Other people have to, help you do basic tasks, and nobody wants to live to be 100 if that's how you have to live. And for that matter, nobody wants to live that last decade,
Yeah,
or
whatever the last decade is.
whatever your last decade is, if that's how it's going to be. So, and again, usually that's pretty rough. And the reason why he talks about the marginal decade is because, oh, hey, Lauren, if you want to join as a guest, I'm happy to have you on. Just let me know and I'll invite you. Where was I going with this? Sorry. I'm distracted. I'm going to tell you something else that I have noticed since we got on this ship. I'm spending so much time on my phone. I'm going to actually start hiding it in my room and spending a couple of hours a day without it, because
We're just attached.
it's killing my short-term memory. I'm literally all the time in the middle of conversations. I'm like,
and if we're not on the phone, we're editing videos.
Yeah.
It's just nonstop.
yeah, I got to start playing more puzzle games and
Coloring.
problem solving stuff or whatever. Anyway, so in the marginal decade, if you could change that, so you're at least taking care of yourself and the aches and pains and the things we normally associate with the last few years. Yeah, Jordan, that's okay. No pressure to join, honestly. Yeah, you're fine. If there's a way that we can make changes to that, for a lot of the people who currently live to be 100 and beyond, the current school of thought is that it is largely genetics.
Yeah.
But in studies that have happened recently, there's actually the opportunity to, through diet, exercise, and lifestyle, and
mental
medications,
health.
and mental health and medications, to actually change your percentages, despite what your genetics are. The book is, no, it's not The Blue Zones. It's called Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia, Attia. And I can't put a link up for it right now, I don't think.
I can give it a try.
Okay, Renee's gonna give it a shot. Okay, so what you need to do, if this is something that you decide to do for yourself, you need to get your objectives in order. So you need to decide, what is it you want to do? How long do you want to live, or how long do you expect to live, based on your family history or, your lifestyle? And what things are important to you to still be able to do in that last decade? Some of the examples they gave in the book are, travel. Do you want to be able to lift a suitcase or
Lift a grandchild.
or lift a grandchild off the floor? Because it's different.
And they're heavy.
Yeah, they are. They are. So once you have your list of what it is that you want to be able to do, those are your objectives. In order to accomplish those specific objectives for you, you need a strategy. So that's the framework that you put everything in. If the things that you want to do are mainly about strength, then you kind of need to be lifting weight. Well, you don't even you need to be lifting heavy things.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing that in a gym or whatever, doesn't matter. Lifting heavy things now is going to help you be able to lift those grandkids later. Oh, there we go.
Didn't.
Oh, you want to?
Yep, got it.
You got it? Okay.
Oh, wants me to go live.
Oh, you don't.
No.
So yeah, it's okay.
Out. There we go.
You're all right.
Struggle bus.
We are sort of new to this. Anyway, so the strategy is the framework. So again, if strength is what you need to increase now, you need to be lifting heavy stuff. If you want endurance, you need to be building up your cardio and your stamina through cardiovascular activities and distancing, so not short-term stuff. And then the tactics part is those are the actual things that you do. And these are not going to be the same for everybody. And in fact, he talks about examples of tactics, but he doesn't. I'm going to turn this because this is weird. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why that's like neither of us. Anyway, tactics are the actual things you do, but not the same things don't work for everybody. I love getting into the gym and lifting weights. Not everybody.
And I hate it.
Not everybody does. But there's other ways that you can build strength. So it's important not just to understand what you need to do, but how you need to do it, because it needs to be sustainable for you. If it's something that you hate doing, you're not going to follow through with
Do
it.
something you enjoy.
Yes, exactly. And he gives a lot of examples of that on how he chooses. And one thing, even though this isn't in chapter 3, I will mention it, because keeping muscle mass is so important to maintaining overall, like not even just your physical health, but mental and emotional health as well. You have to be lifting the right way, and he goes into a lot of detail about this because he's always been a weightlifting kind of person, and the way he was holding his body was different. He was literally like messing up his own musculature structure
Over years.
over years of lifting incorrectly.
And how he was squatting.
Yeah, he showed. There's some pictures in the book about his squatting. Yeah.
Yep. And he was just lopsided, and now he's squatting correctly. Can you try to pronounce my name? It's
Avon. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. Okay. Another concept that he goes over in chapter 3 is that risk grows exponentially as we age. So everybody is aware that there's deterioration as we go forward. Hold on. I just know that's going nowhere good.
yeah.
Trolls, love them. Again, we're all aware that there's a deterioration as we get older. And the concept in this book is that if there's something that I want to be able to do when I'm 70, 80, or 90, when I'm 40, 50, or 60, I need to be at
An Olympic level
right.
of doing it now. So
Not-
the higher you are, the longer it takes to fall.
Yes, and the easier it is to maintain. So if I want to be able to run a marathon when I'm 80, I need to be really able to run a marathon.
Right.
And that's maybe a bad example.
If you want to run a half marathon
yeah.
at 80, you
Yeah.
should be running a marathon now.
Exactly. That's a much better way of putting it. Thank you. Okay. There are 3 parts of overall health that he goes over specifically in this chapter. I love the way he breaks things down.
And the examples.
And
It
the
makes it very relatable.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add about risk or the tactics or?
Just being on this ship, I see all the older people and how we've seen falls. They're
Older
just
than us,
walking
yeah.
and they just fall and they're not falling because I don't know why they're falling, but their hands are not coming out to catch themselves, so they're getting hurt. So they don't have that muscle strength to even stop themselves from falling.
Okay.
So I don't want to be that way if I'm going to be cruising in my 70s and 80s.
Well, the ship moves too.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, stability is super important.
And not having that core strength when the ship moves.
Yes.
That's maybe where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Nope, I like that. So again, the 3 main points of overall health are cognitive, physical, and emotional. He also stresses that the techniques really need to be a part of your daily routine. If you're just doing them on the weekends, if you're not doing them when you're on vacation,
You're doing the bare minimum.
You're doing the bare minimum, yeah. And this is also why it's so important to pick something that's sustainable for you.
Yeah, just do the small daily habits to just keep you going each day.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think.
So, for instance, on the cruise ship, we only take the elevator for formal nights when I'm wearing heels.
Yeah.
Any other time, it's stairs up, stairs down. I don't care how many floors we have to go. Even after a full day of excursions, we got a backpack full of stuff. We're taking stairs.
That's awesome. I am not quite that good about it, although my husband has very severe knee and ankle problems.
Which makes it tough.
Which does make it tough. I mean, due to injuries, right? So I usually do a check-in with him. I'm like, okay, are stairs okay, or do you want to do the elevator? And sometimes he's like, I got to do the elevator, and I take the stairs, and we just meet somewhere else. I try not to pressure him into it because I'm not trying to make it worse, right? Okay, so again, the concept of you have to be better now to do things later. And the 5 domains of things that are of the tactics are exercise, and these are things you already know. Again, he's just laying the roadmap right here, so a lot of this is you're gonna be like, ugh, who doesn't know this? Yeah. Exercise, nutrition, sleep, emotional health, and exogenous molecules, which are drugs, hormones, and supplements. Curious to know if the food gets frustrating to eat. I don't know that I would call it frustrating, but
You
certainly
just miss
it's,
some things from home that you can't get here.
yeah. And I mean, sometimes it's, well, no, I will say it's frustrating in the sense, like if I'm really craving a certain thing, like I just want a grilled chicken breast without a whole bunch of sauce on it. But sauce is the only thing. The eggs got to get soupy. I order omelets, so I don't do the tray eggs.
Are you talking for breakfast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan said that the eggs got to get soupy.
Yeah, I just do oatmeal. Soupy.
Gotcha. Okay, so for exercise, there's strength, stability, and aerobic efficiency. Oh, sorry. Am I skipping too far ahead?
Nope, I was
Renee,
gonna
we've
look for
all got
something
our
else.
own notes, and I think I'm skipping too far
No,
ahead.
no, you're fine. I'm waiting on something to download.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't have to.
Right. So again, all exercise is not created equal. All of us know that. Strength, lifting heavy things, stability. These are activities that are good for stability. Are like the rage on the ship is pickleball, right?
Yeah.
Or tennis, or anything that involves a lot of.
And there's a lot of Zumba.
And a lot of Zumba, yeah. So back and forth, sideways movements. Would the world cruise be more enjoyable if it was on a larger ship? No,
No.
I don't think so.
You won't get to meet as many people and
Yeah.
make the friendships that we're making.
And the ship hasn't been full since we got on, so no. Invite Tam, spouse of Bobby, to join. Tam, if you want to join, let me know. I'll add you. Stability again. So pickleball, tennis, Zumba, all of those things are going to help with stability. Aerobic efficiency. He differentiated this between peak aerobic capacity, and I know peak aerobic capacity is the VO2 max. So from my notes, I don't remember what he meant about aerobic efficiency.
So the VO2 max, for those that have an iPhone,
Oh yeah,
if you go to, a second,
the health app.
the health app, and if it's not there, you go to cardiac fitness, and then over here, and your VO2, like mine says above average, but in the back of the book he has a PDF that shows what your VO2 should be for that age. And it's
His chart is different than the iPhone chart.
off just a little.
Yeah.
But his is higher, which makes you want to strive for more.
Yes.
But and if it's not on your iPhone, you just edit it and you can add it through your iPhone.
And I'm not sure if anybody who's got an Android phone, if there's a similar, anybody watching, if there's an equivalent for the Android phone equivalent app, let us know so we can call that out and give that information to the group.
Tam says in bed.
Yeah. Okay. This point I want to talk about too, and I'm going to shut up for a minute and let you talk. After I say this, exercise is the most potent longevity drug in our arsenal right now. And he goes on to explain that there is not a single drug on the market or anything that they know about within the medical community right now that can do more for your overall health than exercise. Period, full stop, that's it. And I think don't even know what to say about this because I was going to do the whole generation thing, but because
what do you mean?
well, because I mean, when I was a teenager, like Jane Fonda and aerobics became a thing,
Yeah.
and a lot of us have stayed with it over the years, but also a lot of us have not. But I think I don't think the generation before us really got into that sort of thing.
Because they were doing hard labor.
Right, exactly.
We didn't have computers and stuff back
Right.
then.
So yeah,
And-
way more physical stuff. Well, at least earlier on. So it's really important to keep that going, and again, keep it as a daily part of your ritual. So
So, what comes to mind when I say, oh, I don't want to do exercise today? The movie WALL-E, and how they're all sitting in their chairs and getting larger and larger and larger, and they're not doing anything.
Over the generations,
Over
yeah.
the generations, I'm like, okay, I'm not WALL-E. I don't want to be WALL-E. That's what plays.
Is that
in
how
my
you
head.
motivate yourself?
That's how I motivate myself to go to the gym. I'm not WALL-E.
okay, so I'm going to ask a question since we've got a few people on anyway. What do you guys do to keep yourself motivated to exercise? Anything in particular? And yeah, TC, yeah, strength training is great for weight loss.
And cardio, definitely good for mental health.
Yeah,
Just those endorphins get going.
yeah. Any? No, okay, no, nothing coming through. But we'll pause if you guys have some thoughts going forward. When he goes on to talk about nutrition, this one I thought was super vague. I wasn't thrilled about this in the book, but when he talks about nutrition, specifically in his opinion, the thing that is the most important is not too much and not too few of calories.
Just right.
Right,
Not too hot,
and
not too cold.
right, and how you figure that out comes later in the book. It's not really expounded on in this chapter.
Because he spends so much time later on in the book.
Yes, he does,
Yeah.
but you feel like you wish you had more now. Like, what does that mean? That's
Yeah. And basically just incorporate more plant-based meals in your diet.
And then sleep, of course. Getting enough is more important than you think. And
So
you want to share your story on how you are with sleep?
I don't sleep. I get probably 4 to 5 hours a night. I actually take medication to go to sleep and stay in bed for those 4 hours, and then I'm up by 4:30 every morning. No matter what time zone we're in, I'm up and I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's start working. What do we need to do? What's going on the ship? And I walk the ship early in the morning like it's my own yacht. It's kind of cool.
Okay. So, not completely bad. Motivation is wanting to feel young and not to lose that. It slips away easily with neglect. It
Oh,
does,
absolutely.
yeah. Thank you, TC, for that comment. I feel that and I appreciate that.
So how do you sleep?
So I
Besides
have,
with your eyes closed.
yes, exactly. I've always been the kind of person who could fall asleep pretty much anywhere. That's changed over the last couple of years.
As our hormones change.
That could be part of it. I blame it on my husband. So,
Okay.
We've been together for a really long time, but we've also been long distance for a lot of that time. Since we've been married, we've been together more often, and obviously on the ship, we're very much together all the time, not just when we're sleeping. So he doesn't sleep as well as I do, and he moves. So that wakes me up.
Now, do you, or does anybody out there wear like the eye mask and the earplugs so you don't hear each other?
So I don't do the earplugs because it's one of those, it's a pet peeve having things in my ear. I really hate wearing earbuds at all, even when I exercise, even though I have to. But we do have the eye masks. Peter Attia has a brand that he recommends in that because he travels a lot, and it's really nice using the eye mask when you're trying to keep jet lag from messing up your schedule. Cammie, what happened? I'm not sure what you're asking about. We're doing a book club on the book Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia. That's what we're going over today.
Also, when going back to sleep, any of the blue or red lights in your room, I tape them over.
Oh, do you? Okay.
So there's no light in the room.
And you guys have an ocean view, right? So
Yeah.
So we
But
have fairly dark curtains, but they don't close right.
But the TV has a little red light on it
Ah, okay,
every
gotcha.
night. So I tape over that.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you leave is the tape on there all the time, or do you just put it on before? Okay.
Yeah, even at home, everything is taped up.
Okay. Taping lights is smart. I agree.
Thank you. I have painter's tape in the room if you want some.
Yeah, oh, I got to talk to you about the magnetic tape. We're going to do some organizing stuff at a future date, sometime when it's not quite so busy on the ship. Kristen's making the ship very busy.
Yes. But I can't wait to organize their room for my cleaning channel.
I can't wait for her to organize my room either.
It's not keeping me awake, but it's keeping me awake of how I want to do it. It's just running through my mind.
That's right. Okay, are we ready to move on to chapter 4?
Sure.
Okay. So chapter 4 is about centenarians. And that's obviously somebody who lives to be 100. So who wants to live to be 100?
If I'm healthy and mobile and I've got all my wits, absolutely.
Because that is a precursor. He tells a story about, what is the Roman or Greek myth about the guy who asked to live forever, but forgot
gets
that.
king's food?
Yeah.
Is that the one?
I don't remember. Anyway, the guy who asked for eternal life, but forgot to ask for eternal health. So,
yeah.
And Tam says nope. Gotcha, Tam.
Well, and it goes back to health span versus lifespan.
So the formal definition of health span, as a reminder for everybody, is that the definition is the age at which you are free from disease or injury, right? Yeah. And that's the official definition of health span. In Dr. Peter Attia's mind, it needs to be a little more or a little less inclusive. How do we do that? Anyway, if you are, if you're free from disease and injury at 40, that still doesn't mean that you're operating like you were when you were 25.
Right.
It's not the same thing. Anybody who's past their 30s knows that. It's just not the same at all.
Well, and it's made me more conscious of not to just aim to live longer, but it's about making choices to add life to years and not years to your life.
Oh, I love that. Is that in the book?
I don't know.
I love that. Aging is inevitable, but suffering is not. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
TC, you're being fabulous, by the way. Thank you so much for all
Very
the comments.
insightful.
Yes. Okay, so the catchphrase for the centenarian chapter is the older you get, the healthier you have been, right? So, again, the decline is inevitable. That is the aging process, whether it's the telomeres or the hormone changes or whatever it is that's pushing that. There are ways to do something about that. So he talks a lot about some of the known centenarians that have been studied or have given their
DNA in their blood and all of that.
And also their opinion of how they lasted as long. And in the show The Blue Zones on Netflix, they talk about a lot of the things that the centenarians in those specific areas have in common, which is staying active. The
meditation.
I can't remember her name, but the lady who lived to be 122, she rode her bicycle every day until she died. She also ate a pound of chocolate.
Yeah.
And
one smoked a cigar.
And she smoked cigarettes until she was 117. So not everything that they're saying they did is going to be something that gets recommended for obvious reasons.
And it just proves that not going back to exercise, what works for you for exercise doesn't work for me, or vice versa.
And that genetics does in fact play a role in what we're doing and what happens here. So the idea in chapter 4 is how much of it is genetic, and can we mimic those genetics?
And it's not too late to do anything. I mean, you can pick up dancing, if your knees hurt or something, and just start being active a little bit at a time, or low impact first.
Yes.
Anything you do is going to benefit your longevity.
Especially on the exercise front, right? The known centenarians have all managed to delay cancer, cardio, osteoporosis, stroke, dementia, and hypertension. How do they do that? Well, he gets into the medical. 80s is good with me. I wouldn't want to outlive all my loved ones. That's a good point, Tam. I do understand
that would be rough.
So how do they delay all of those things?
Cardio.
Yes, cardio, because they all had an exercise regimen. But he goes into some detail on the specific genes that they believe are involved in longevity, FOXO3 and APOE. I'm not going to go into that because I'm not a medical person and I don't understand. I mean, I understand it enough in my head, but I don't understand it enough to like really explain it to you guys. But those things have a positive effect on how cholesterol and glucose are transmitted throughout the body. You know, those specific genes,
How they're carried through.
the body and what the body does with them as they're being carried through. So we do know that genes are a thing. There was something he mentioned in the book. I don't know if you remember this from when you were reading it, but after 6 weeks or 6 months, it was 6 weeks or 6 months, not a very long time of regular exercise.
Their DNA or something changed.
The genes had a more youthful expression.
Yes, that's
Again,
the word.
I think I understand what that means.
Yep.
Just eat real food. Oh, I like that. Just eat real food. Jerf.
I like that.
Yeah. So again, going back to the exercise.
But
being,
somehow they knew that it expressed.
Yeah, I don't know.
don't
I
understand
don't
the
know
whole
how
thing,
they.
but-
I don't know how they determined that either. But I trust that because he actually wrote it and nobody sued him. That,
Yeah.
that it is in fact correct. I will also mention too. Again, TC, we were talking about this earlier. Muscle mass is highly correlated with lifespan and function. Which is why in Dr. Peter Attia's practice, he talks a lot about making sure that you are getting adequate protein and moving and lifting as much as you can.
So the cool thing on the ship is they have a smoothie bar, and so
Oh,
I
yeah.
get a protein drink every morning. I'm like, okay, I'm starting off my day with protein.
And again, this is later in the chapters, but he specifically, you know, as you get older, it's really important to hit that protein first thing in the morning.
Yep.
So because you're eating oatmeal for breakfast.
Oatmeal and a protein drink.
And a protein drink, right?
Yep.
So you are getting your protein. A lot of people start with maybe an egg or two, which is
Cereal.
great. Or cereal, not so much. Eggs are great, but you know, an egg or two is probably. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I think there's 7-8 grams of protein in the egg whites. So you're only getting 60. I even think that's too many. Or I think that's.
Or it depends how many you eat.
It does, yes, it does depend on many weight. Women lose muscle mass and collagen more quickly than men after 40. Protein is it is,
Yes.
absolutely. Don't discount it. And there is some info. I'm not gonna say specifically what my opinion is. He does have some guidelines in the book about how much protein you should be getting because it changes based on your weight. And there are a lot of folks who were like, 1 gram of protein per pound, and a lot of people are, no, it has to be a 1.5
Yeah.
to 2.
Do what works for you, I guess.
Yeah.
If you know.
Or consult the professional, a professional that you believe in and agree on, because I'm, again,
Yeah.
not medical people.
And we don't want to give out medical advice and
Yeah.
get dinged.
Absolutely not. So he also mentions super survivors, which I thought was really interesting. He breaks it down into like men and women because there are more. And super survivors, by the way, are people who live to be at least 105.
Yep.
There are more women than men.
And that's just in anything.
Yes,
Women last longer.
we do. But what was interesting is that the men in that range tend to be healthier than the women. And so he talks about how he thinks there's, basically if you were doing bad stuff before, you got taken out of the pool of available, and that's why there's more women than men. But they believe that the reason why, when you do get to that point, the men are healthier is because they maintain muscle mass better.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of
And do they maintain it because of the testosterone? Better?
just as a rule,
Oh, because they're doing more heavy work.
they maintain it better than women, period. So he doesn't really talk about the reasons why that I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else do you want to show? You got like all kinds of like awesome lists. And am I skipping over all of this?
No, you're hitting them all, and
Okay.
I'm just adding to what you're doing.
You got anything in there you want to add to that?
I think I was going to have some questions for the group.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning, brothers.
So the two chapters suggest the secret to longevity just isn't in groundbreaking medical discoveries, but everyday choices. Do you agree with that perspective, and why? I mean, we all make choices. You know, do we have water? I'm having hot chocolate. I don't do coffee. I should be drinking water, but that choice made a decision on how long I live again. So, is that correct? Or are these little tiny choices?
There's something to be said for, I mean, chocolate's good for your mental health, right?
Absolutely.
and nobody wants to literally nitpick everything that goes into your mouth or every step that you take throughout the day, which is why, you know, making it part of your routine and just something that you do naturally is so awesome. So awesome of a way to do these things. Again, because for anybody who's ever been on a diet and either has to count macros or calories and obsess about this stuff, it's like,
It's horrible.
it's not sustainable. It's irritating. Well, I
And
guess
is that the way you want to live?
is that the way you want to live? Exactly. Not me. This is like I'm at the end of my notes
So I
already.
have another question. How do you think society's view on exercise as we age needs to change?
Metabolically healthy people can definitely drink some hot chocolate. Absolutely, TC. I do have actually two other points, but I'm going to wait and see if anybody. Can you ask Scott your first question again?
How do you think our society's view on exercise as we age needs to change?
Oh, I think we need to make exercise more accessible.
So they have in the United States silver sneakers for when you're on, is it Medicare, Medicaid?
I don't know.
Medicare. To get the anybody over 65, they give them gym memberships to the silver sneakers. But I've talked to people over 65 and they don't do it.
Well, getting to the gym. Well, so that's another thing. You know, as you have cognitive, and not everybody can drive when they're 72.
Yeah.
How do you get to the gym? Yeah, more
Well-
focus on strength training. Thank you, Lenny.
And in that program, from what I understand, they also have like they'll do just your area, like a neighborhood. They'll come and
Pick you up or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
And make it accessible, but it's not widely used. And I'm like, why don't seniors use it? Is it because they've already declined and they're like, I'm gonna continue to decline. I'm not gonna do anything about it, or I hurt too much.
That brings up another thing, because it's not just enough to get to the gym if you don't know what you're doing. So Lenny Loves would like you to repeat what the silver sneakers is, if you can explain a little more
The
about
Silver
it.
Sneakers is in the U.S. I think it's under Medicare. It's a program that they provide to seniors, and it's free to them. And I believe they can go to a gym or it's in their local area. So if they can't drive, they can be picked up by a bus. And that's about as much as I know about it. But it's on Medicare's website, I think.
Okay. So
So-
something you're going to subscribe to when you hit that age.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are there yet.
In many years.
We are not 65 yet.
We will be.
We will be. Barring, falling off of the curb and getting
Yeah.
hit by a bus, right?
Or thrown overboard.
Or thrown overboard. That could happen. Hey, Nadine. If you want to join as a guest, let me know and I'll add you. We're talking about Outlive, the book on health span
Versus lifespan.
by Dr. Peter Attia. We are going over chapter 3 and 4. Did you get the book yet,
I'll look into
Nadine?
it. My husband's 65. Yeah,
I'll look
definitely look into that program. I believe it's free, and then you can also get like blood pressure cuffs and paw socks. I mean, Medicare pays for a lot.
And it's nice that Medicare is at least acknowledging
Exercise is needed.
and being proactive. There's so many things with insurance companies and Medicare that don't cover things that are proactive or preventative. They wait for you to actually get sick before they just come. Oh, Nadine says she just got it yesterday.
We're
so
on
she needs to
chapter
get-
3 and 4.
Yep. So they're pretty quick chapters. I mean, the overall book is really long, but they're pretty quick chapters, and that's cool. Thank you very much for picking up the book. And so you weren't here in the beginning, but we were talking about how Being on the ship has been interesting from a mental health perspective because we have made and are maintaining long-term friendships, which gets harder as you grow older. People move away, get busy, pass away, whatever, and I appreciate you joining. That's awesome.
Going back to exercise and making small changes for big impact, I was talking to my boys. I have twin boys that are identical that are older.
Grown up.
Yeah, they're adults. And they have meetings at work that they don't sit down for. Every meeting they have, because they're managers or directors, they make them walking meetings. Everybody walks. Because they
Awesome.
live in Florida, and they just get outside and have walking meetings.
Okay.
So even if you're working, you can make changes and not sit all day.
Yeah.
Because they're very active with exercising.
And what generation would you say they are?
Millennials.
Okay. And that so this is, I was kind of leaning towards this before because I don't the generation before us, I'm not, I guess, boomers, not very active again because they did more. There was more physical labor involved in as a general rule for that generation. The aerobics craze kind of hit
Our
generation, and I think it's actually gotten better each generation that's followed us. They're more conscious of exercise and eating right and doing the right things and sticking with it.
And once I learned about the VO2s, they all have iPhones. I'm like, what's your VO2? And it's...
Did they know already?
Oh, they already knew what it
Yeah.
was. And it was well above average. It
That's-
was ridiculous.
That's awesome.
So-
They're also younger, and that, you know.
Right.
But
if you go by
being
his
aware
chart,
of it, yeah.
they were well within, not Olympian, but they were up there.
Right. So, and when I finished reading this book and I started working on my VO2 max, it's something you have to maintain too. It's not like you just get it to a certain
It
level.
can go down
You
quickly.
have to keep working at it or keep maintaining, right? So I was I was in the above average range when I started, which I think you were as
Yep.
well, right? And I worked at it for, I want to say at least 2 or 3 months and got up to the,
The next level.
yeah, the next, whatever, it's high or extreme or whatever but I've always had, and so this is the other thing that I'm going to share. I think my Generation Z is the worst. Those that came after have got it. Okay, noted, Nadine. Where was I going with this?
Your VO2
The
went
VO2
down or
max.
up.
So, despite the fact that I've been a smoker for most of my life,
Which I did not know until like a week ago.
Right. So I've always had a really good VO2 max. And in fact, because I think I'd either only just recently quit smoking or may have still been smoking when I first started tracking. I think I had just quit. But this book was the inspiration for quitting. We haven't gotten to this chapter yet, but when he's talking about his, how important it is to not just do the good things, but to eliminate the bad things. In his practice, which is still a medical practice, even though he's going after health span, and it's not, he's not like a cardiologist or anything. So he's not stovepipe into a certain field.
I don't know where you're going.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm not
While you
kidding
think
about
of that
the
a
condoms.
second, I've been talking about this book at our dining room table, and there was a gentleman that got it, and we were talking about his VO2, and he's 77 maybe, 75 to 77, and his VO2 was 15, and he goes, "So I'm near death."
Oh wow.
His first words was, "So I'm near death," and I'm like, no.
No.
And he's been to the gym every day since, trying to get his VO2 up at 75.
That's great.
So.
So I guess what I was going to say before is that this was basically the inspiration. If you know, you can't, he won't even consider you to be a part of his practice or a patient until you stop doing all the bad stuff. And smoking, of course, is the main one.
The name of the book is Outlive by
Dr. Peter Attia.
and we are in the Indian Ocean. It's almost 20 to 9 a.m.
And I am Leah, and this is Renee.
You can follow me on Renee Shaw on YouTube, or Shaw's Set Sail, SHULLS, or on TikTok, Shaw Renee.
Okay.
And
Thank
the
you.
elephant.
And the elephant.
The
That's why
elephant.
he's in the background. Okay. Again, one of the major points in Chapter 4 is that Medicine 2.0 concept we talked about last time is where we're at now with the medical community. You basically respond to bad things that are happening to the body, and
Not be proactive.
not being some, but not really as much as it really
Yeah.
needs to be. Oh wow, I don't know what that paper crane is, but that was really cool. Thank you. Delaying the onset before the start, right?
Yeah.
So, and the overall medical community is really bad about this. And one of the examples he gives, actually, I think in the earlier chapters, is about how, from an insurance perspective and from a coverage perspective, if you are pre-diabetic,
They don't pay for anything.
They don't pay for anything. You have to wait until you actually develop full-blown diabetes before you can get medicated or get the programs that you actually need to resolve that.
And I just sent you a link
You did?
the other day for what are you checking for? Your blood sugar
Oh, the continuous glucose monitoring.
is now out on the open market to buy, so you don't have to wait until you're diabetic to find out what your glucose is.
Right.
or
So
continued glucose.
everybody knows. Well, I hope everybody knows how important it is to for your body to be able to manage the sugar, glucose, efficiently and correctly, and how metabolic health is severely impacted by how you. Yeah, no, you've never seen that. I must have put on
No idea.
I'm not sure what you're going for, Taz Bunny. She's on the. Renee's been on the ship. She's
Since Miami.
yeah, since Miami. Anyway, so it's how your body manages glucose is super important. And what the continuous glucose monitoring does is something you wear, generally speaking, 7 to 10 days, and you just keep track of it. It gives you the information on how your body is dealing with different
Yeah.
foods that you eat.
And it tells you immediately when you put that food in your mouth
Yeah.
what it's doing to your glucose.
Yep. And the great thing about this is, like, everybody knows that in general, starches, heavy starches or sugars, are going to give you an insulin spike. But not everybody responds to the same starches the same way. And the example I gave last week was my husband has a family member who is diabetic who can eat potatoes but can't eat white rice. Like, white rice just shoots his sugar incredibly high, and would require medication. So now that he, again, because he did have the glucose monitoring system for a while, he knows if he's going to have, like, Chinese food, it's got to be brown rice, no white rice. But he can still have potatoes with breakfast, right? That, I mean, he's still going to get an insulin response to that, but
Right.
not the way
Not
white
the
rice
spike.
does. And I was talking to another friend who, oh no, I didn't think you were being rude. I just didn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't
Taz,
understand the
but-
question.
And I appreciate the comments and asking. That was, yeah, we
Thank
didn't
you.
assume that you were being
Yeah.
rude. Okay, so key information for delaying diabetes and all sorts of other things. So
I was just going to say last night, I think it was last night, these days are running together. The cruise director said something at the end of the show which has led me not to eat a lot of bread now. He said, he had a joke, he goes, "What does the sun do? It rises in the yeast and sets
that's
in the waste."
waist.
And I'm like, okay,
I've heard that one before.
yeah.
The final point that he makes in the book, do you remember this one? The four horsemen are all related. Okay, so there's a four horsemen of aging
Yep.
and lifespan. They're cancer, cardiovascular, diabetes.
And then that other one.
What is that? I always forget the other one.
It's the,
Cardiovascular. Oh, cognitive health.
Yep.
So that means, neurodegenerative. So Alzheimer's, dementia, things like
Yeah.
that. When you actually develop full-blown cognitive
Diseases,
diseases, or cardiovascular, everything is treated very much in a stovepipe. You don't go to a GP to get help with your cardio stuff. You go to a specific cardiologist.
all specialized.
All very specialized, which is good. And
And are they
also not-
talking to each other?
No, of course they don't. But, well, very rarely. They like exchange records,
Right.
but they don't. In general, they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
But the other part is before you develop these full-blown, all of these things have similar causes, with the exception maybe of cancer, out
Yes.
of the four horsemen, right?
Speaking of cancer, did anybody hear about Kate Middleton?
Yes, I did. I don't want to do because I didn't get a chance to read the article. I basically
That's
just
all I'm gonna say.
got the headphones, but all I will say is I really hope she's doing okay.
Yep, absolutely.
And I hope I feel bad that she felt like she had to come out and share that, because I know she didn't want to,
Yeah.
but it was out of a place of love. People were very concerned about her. See, this is like
Yeah.
making me very sad. Anyway, because you can do these things, again, the tactics that you use and the strategy you put together, the framework, and then deciding what it is that you want to do, all of this from chapter 3, objectives, strategy, and tactics. When you know what you want to do, and you actually follow through with these things, you can delay the onset of these things. And the delay of the onset of all of these, the four horsemen, is exactly what gets centenarians where they are. From just a statistical standpoint, all of them have been able to delay the onset of all of these things until, like, say most people develop cardio issues in their 50s or 60s. They don't get them until they're in their 70s or 80s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or later.
Or even later, yeah. Or they don't even develop them at all. And I think
Right.
that's probably more genetic, because it's inevitable that you will start building
Right.
up plaque and calcium and stuff in your arteries. That
It's
I mean,
gonna
you
happen.
could do nothing but eat broccoli all day, and you would still develop these things over time. But the more you can delay it, and again,
The more you're going to have a better health span.
yes, exactly. And again, at least 3 of the 4 have commonalities. So the same things that are going to help you with cognitive decline are also going to help keep you physically fit. And being physically fit is going to help with other things. Nadine, yeah, I am sorry that she had to go on camera to explain. And yeah, they are. She says their PR team is as bad as RC's.
That's another story.
That's hilarious, Nadine. You're correct. And then I guess
Do we want to do this?
yeah, we can.
Okay.
The final thing is resilience, and going back to I'm going to take this back to the continuous glucose monitoring, and the VO2 max, the health app that we were talking about. All of these things are things that help you know where you're at and where maybe you should be.
Because the more you know, the more you can talk to your doctor and say, hey, this is what's going on.
This is the biggest part of this, but I haven't gone all weird on you guys about this, but the thing about this book is it gives you the tools to be your own advocate. And what's the health app? Oh, I was just talking, Lenny Loves, I was talking about the health app that's on the iPhone. I don't know if there's an equivalent for an Android, but if anybody is aware of one, please share with us. So we were talking about cardio fitness, and Renee
And
was
the
showing.
health app shows your VO2 on an iPhone.
Right. And VO2 is one of the super important parts of this. And so, again, information is power, right?
So
Renee has this thing.
what I did is when my parents were alive, I didn't know what their health conditions were. And so I'm taking them to the doctor, and they're like, well, what about this? What about that?
When was their last surgery? What
And
medications were they taking?
They couldn't remember. I had no idea. Did they have their polio shot? What did they have? So I developed a book, Personal Vital Medical, for them. And it has,
I have not TC, but I'm going to write that down and I'll check into it.
what are the emergency numbers? Who are their treating physicians? When did they last treat? What are their numbers? Because they didn't remember, and if I need to talk to them about... Oh, sorry.
I can help with this. Here. I'm going to help. I'm going to be the assistant.
Okay. So,
I'm not sure if I'm actually showing this whole thing correctly.
and then treating physicians.
So a big list for basically just a breakdown spreadsheet of all the stuff
And a
that
treating
right
page.
that a doctor is going to ask when you bring your parents
Yeah.
in or bring yourself in.
Who's your cardiologist? And the next one is they were on medications, and then they also want to know prescription medications versus over-the-counter.
Oh yeah. Oh, so over the counter gets more important every year as most people start, because a lot of people take supplements and they think that they aren't. They're just over the counter, so they're not. Yeah, they matter. Yeah.
Any allergies or adverse reactions? Because that generation, or at least my parents, didn't tell us what was wrong with them. They held it all in.
Yeah.
Any surgeries they had, date, body part, reason. And I put the surgery name in the medical terms so the doctor understands it, and not just say, well, my nose. Well, what happened to your nose?
That's an excellent point.
Their vital signs and their social history. Did they smoke? Did they do alcohol? Because that alcohol and illegal
people lie
drugs
about that stuff. Yeah.
affect when you go into surgery. The anesthesiologist knows if you've had illegal drugs because they have to give you extra stuff to keep you under.
Yeah.
Vaccinations. This isn't a complete list, but it's a list that they've had or I've had.
A lot of I want to talk about this one because this comes up because of COVID and actually on the ship, because there are certain required
Yellow
vaccinations.
fever.
Yellow fever is a requirement for some of the countries that we're going to be visiting.
Yep.
And so when my husband and I went to the travel clinic to get some of these vaccinations before we got on the ship, the people that we talked to, the nurses, the practitioners, were like astounded that we still had our immunization cards, because grown-ups don't keep those anymore.
VO2s.
Yeah. Thank you, Nadine. I appreciate that for sharing that information. The VO2 max measures the peak oxygen usage during exercise. Yes, it does. Anyway, so most people don't have records of this stuff.
And not only do I have when it was last done, but when do I get it again, like the pneumonia shot?
Yes.
And the doctors, when I walk in, so this goes in a 3-ring binder and a plastic sheet protector, and they're just shocked. So this one is your patient decision aids. When did you have your last test? It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on for just a second. Singing Sailor, we're doing a book club on the book Outlive by Dr. Peter Attia, and we're basically talking about health span and lifespan. And I'm very sorry, but you're just catching the end of it. So it'll be available on YouTube shortly after, because it automatically uploads to YouTube if you want to watch it later. Renee is going over this little booklet that she put together to keep track of her parents' health and also her own.
Yep.
So rather than doing like every single page, where can people get this? Like, are you charging for it, or is it free?
It's free. Just send me your email on my website, Shulls Set Sail, SHULLS Set Sail, and there's a subscribe. Once I get your email, you'll get a copy. But it includes things like medical conditions. So, my one parent had a ton of dental work, and they need to know that for surgeries.
Yeah.
What do you have? And then if they're housebound, it's got emergency information, what to do if you've got hospice coming over, where do they go for a tornado, what do they do with packages?
Yeah.
Because they were of that age.
And knowing where the community, like, I remember my mom and I talking about this at some point when I was in my early 20s. Like, there are certain, if there's a huge natural disaster, where is it in the community that everybody's supposed to go to?
Yeah.
Like, if you're evacuating your house, and there's, for us, it was on the university, there was a sports complex. And again, because the university was up on a hill, so if it was a flooding thing or whatever, high up.
I want to address, in New Zealand, you can address all your health records online. You can
that's
address
awesome.
them, but can your kids get to them? That's why I did the book. Because, you may be incapacitated or something happened, and how are they going to get to that?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
If Nadine or Daniele, do you know if family members can access the health information?
Yeah.
I know in the U.S., especially health information is very much under wraps, and
Right.
you can't. If you won't take my money for that, where would you like a donation sent
no
to?
donations. I've given away free for years.
Yeah, thank you, Renee. That's
You're
awfully
welcome.
nice. Again, so website again, and do you want to add it? Can you add it in there?
Yeah.
So so she's going to add it to the chat.
I don't know if they got it on the book when I sent the book link.
Maybe. anyway, we're gonna stay on a little bit longer, so she's gonna put it in chat. But we have a town hall meeting that only if medical power of attorney. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Nadine.
Yes.
So yeah,
But
so
did your parents do that too? Medical power of attorney. Some parents are like, nope, nope.
oh yeah. Some of them are stubborn.
Yeah.
I've allocated my mother as a person who can act on my behalf and so on, which is good. Yes.
Yes.
And so that actually raises a good point. No matter how young or healthy you are, please appoint someone to make these decisions for you. If you're, especially like, I mean, in most cases, I think if you're married, then it automatically goes to your spouse. If you're not, and you have adult children, then it probably goes to the oldest child. But if
Depends state by state too, I think.
Exactly. So if you're unsure and you know who you want, please think about doing a medical power of attorney.
Okay, so I put.
Oh, you did. Okay,
But
so
does it show up here? Do you guys see shawlsetsale.com
oh, because
for some reason?
I'm not sure why it's not showing on here. Anyway, so Shull SHULL
S
S.
SETSAIL.com.
Yeah. So go there, send her an email,
And I'll send it to
and
you.
she'll send you the. Is it a PDF or is it?
It's a Word doc, so you can fill it out.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we're going to need to shut down now. Again, we have a town hall, and Renee has a work call that she needs to do. So thank you all for participating. No next of kin is different. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So we're going to do chapters 5 and 6 next week, and it will be roughly a week from now. I will give a 2-day notice, and I will do a short video on both platforms to give you the exact time that we're scheduling. So live and believe. Thank you very
Thank you
much,
so
for,
much.
for sticking around. I really appreciate that. And best to all of you, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great week. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.